I'm Seth with According to Seth. How are you all doing?
Great. Excellent.
First of all, your movie scared the living crap out of me, so thank you for that. I got sent the screener, and it was, like, incredible. One of the first things I wanted to ask you guys, like, the film, it was so horrifying, and it felt so real. How did you come up with this idea, Stuart? And for you, Terri and Peter, what was it about the script that made you, like, want to tackle this?
Sure. Well, the idea is a weird Frankenstein monster kind of. My first film that I made is called Grave Encounters. Mm-hmm. That's from back in 2011, and that's a found footage film. But it has kind of some documentary elements. It has some interviews in it. And ever since then, I just thought it was a really interesting way to tell like a horror story in particular, because it's just this point of view that you don't normally see in like a horror movie, which is just this kind of ability to forensically and clinically analyze like a situation, a horror scenario. And the idea just stuck with me. I thought it was really cool, and I'd never seen it really done before. And then it was during COVID, Tiger King came out, and it was this big phenomenon, and everyone was loving it. And Tiger King is great. It's really entertaining, but what it is at its core is a true crime story. Yeah. And even though it has all this zany stuff, and it just sort of occurred to me that like true crime had hit the mainstream, and that like I had thought I was like the only weirdo that listened to all these weird stories. Like, I would go to sleep every night listening to like a story, a true crime story. I'd go to sleep to murder basically every night. I thought I was the only one that did that, but then I came to realize after Tiger King, no, like the suburban soccer mom also listens to the murder stories. Yeah. Everyone listens to these stories and is fascinated by these stories. So with that being the kind of environment that was going on, the sort of zeitgeist at the moment, it just felt like the timing was right. And then, of course, just like through osmosis, the filter of all the genre greats, whether it's Silence of the Lambs or, pulling influences from H.P. Lovecraft, it all went in a blender and became Strange Harvest.
That's awesome.
I mean, look, for us as actors, it's always really special to get an audition for something that you could tell is a unique project. I'm fairly new coming back to acting after a long career in music. So for me, I was really taken with the format of the script. I actually got to read the script, and I immediately knew how I wanted to play this guy, and I was immediately drawn to the sort of directive that Stuart had in the audition itself of like, we really don't want to see acting. We want to see micro expressions. We want to see realism. And all my training has been theatrical, and it oddly really helped me just find ways to internalize, even before I really got into the character itself. And I'm a long-time true crime fan, long-time horror fan, so it was kind of scratching both those itches at the same time. And I just got to, once I got the part, I really just started going back watching. There's one particular detective on Discovery that I really like, the sort of way that he would look at the camera, as if like, you can't fucking believe what I've seen. And then just inject a little gravel and just try to convey that hauntedness and the level of despair I must feel over what I've seen. But A, without being overly emotive about it, because then it looks like you're acting, but B, also not being too flat, because then you're just boring the fuck out of everybody. But it starts with great writing, and it his words made it easier to bring the music by a lot. So,
And I thought you both did great, by the way. Like, I definitely, like I said, I thought it was real until I, like, got the press notes, and I was like, this is a faux document. I was like,
we're not
wait,
detectives.
No. Thank you.
You make a good detective, guys.
Like I say, I mean, certainly that would be on a list. She was a kick-ass character.
Yeah.
I liked her. I loved her. So I kept coming back to her. So I mean, I just played her as just a character. I mean, I do realize, but in everything you act, you have to be real. So to me, it wasn't being real on top of being real. It was just being real for who that character was.
Yeah.
And creating these experiences that this is happening now, and I'm reflecting on something that was real for me then, and just being present and there. So it just was a great acting opportunity with great writer, great director, great co-star, and that's it.
That's awesome. I love Grave Encounters. I know you already brought that up, and so does my friend Brian, who I was like talking to him about this before. Found footage horror is like such a underrated subgenre. So what is it about it that makes you gravitate towards it more?
I think that there's just opportunities to present the stories or scenes with this kind of immediacy that you can't get in a more conventional narrative kind of movie. When you're just presenting something like it's, you're trying to look like real footage, if you have a cool way of executing, these gags, they just, I don't know, they can carry more impact because they feel like they're real. And we have so much media literacy now, and we've seen so much. Everyone is now, as Google's horrible car crashes on the freeway or whatever, and watches montages. We're also like just used to seeing that stuff too.
Yeah. I know every time I open up Twitter now, there's like something bad happening. I'm like, I can't like escape it. It's crazy. I know you said you go to sleep listening to true crime podcasts and things like that. So obviously true crime has really taken the world by storm. So is there a podcast or a show that you all loved watching growing up that kind of inspired you?
Oh man, probably like Unsolved Mysteries, that theme song was terrified portions of my childhood, I think. The do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
Do 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 do. And to that point, like I think as in like the kind of mid to late like 90s, there were a lot of shows like that, but they were kind of from a different era where they were the style was a little bit different. But they definitely influenced me in some way. There's some creepy about those shows, creepier than a lot of horror movies.
Yep.
Just a drony sound on the score and some narrator being like, and then this happened, and it can be so creepy. So I was definitely affected by all that kind of stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah, and for me, because I'm, I grew up pre-podcast era, not pre-electricity, so we did have visual media. But like, I love, we did shadow animals on the wall with like candlelight. No, but I used to love like 2020, but back when it was like Hugh Downs. I'm Hugh Downs, and this is 2020. With Barbara Walters, and these are like these regal hosts.
Yeah.
So you knew that the stories they were reporting on had to be true. This is serious. So any mystery that's going to be on 2020 is a serious mystery. And nowadays, there's so much great true crime and podcasts that it never loses its appeal because there's just the stuff that happens in the real world is just so much more messed up than anything. Are we allowed to curse in this?
Yeah, please. Say
so
whatever
much
you
more
want.
fucked up than anything that, most people could imagine. And then I also grew up. I used to read a lot of true crime books, like a lot of Anne Rule, a lot of her stuff. I was obsessed with serial killers.
Yeah.
We talked about BTK, Ted Bundy, all that. I was around when Dahmer got caught.
That's crazy.
And it was like, or John Wayne Gacy,
Yeah.
and that whole experiment. I was young, but I remember being obsessed with that case.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. So yeah.
Terri has crazy stories.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I said,
You're really the one, man.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was thinking, what movie? Well, I didn't have any fear as a kid until there was a girl kidnapped in Kansas City when I was 15. Now, I didn't know the BTK because he was still not caught.
Yeah.
So he was about 45 minutes from where we lived. But apparently, the guy that did murder this girl and kidnap this girl, so when I was like 14 or 15, so we were all freaked out. And it ended up being the guy that was a maintenance guy at my high school that didn't get caught for 25 years, and they found the bones in the incinerator. So but I didn't know, we didn't know that then, but I just remember not feeling fear and then going, oh shit, this stuff's real. And then also I remember watching a Manson family movie when we had a big house, and I was just home along with my brother, and I was like, is the garage door open? Oh my God, so I remember all of a sudden going, someone's going to come up 3 flights of steps. They're going to get us. So it was real enough dealing with that.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I guess.
So for you two as actors, how do you go about portraying these characters and make it feel real? And do you have a favorite memory from set when you were filming?
All right, you want to? Okay, well, hold on, Mike.
Yeah, either way.
Well, I loved our scenes together.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the very first day we have. I have a very fond memory. We were on a hospital set, not giving too much away. It made me personally going, oh, this is going to be fun and this is going to be great. So every experience on the set was actually fantastic because The scenes were set up so beautifully, and they were so real, and yet it was fun.
Yep.
But it was it was just great to play the roles, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just upset that he cut out our love scene. I thought that really deepened the story.
It's
for me.
totally inappropriate. We had
There's a cave in there's a next movie.
And no one will ever know who was the sub.
That's
and,
right.
You know, who was the
Who
dom.
was the sub and Tom?
That's
I
amazing.
like it.
the sheets were flowing. There were rose petals.
Yeah.
It was a great scene.
Yeah, no, for me, it really comes down to like if you're playing an instrument, it's like when you're practicing a song over and over again, or you're working out a solo, there's a certain amount of improv that's going on. And so when you have to narrate, and a lot of what you're doing is monologue, you want to try a lot of different, if I say to you, listen, I'm going to be there about 8 o'clock. That's different than me going, I'm going to be there about 8 o'clock, Oh, well, why? What, something's wrong? So that was really, really fun. And Stuart, you wanted to be as word perfect as possible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he gave us a lot of room to play with the music of it. My favorite moment from set, I've been saying it a lot, was the very first take.
Yeah.
I did my intro to my character, and it was this giant warehouse, right? And like, I come in, I get in my costume and makeup and hair gets done. I come out there and it's just this tiny stool in the middle of this massive like airplane hangar sized place, and these lights are all on
Set
around
up,
it,
yeah.
and the sets and the crew's in front of it, and he's standing there looking very serious, and I just sit on the thing. Yeah, let me know when you're ready, and then I finish the first monologue. Cut. He comes over, puts his arms around me, and you could feel this like relief coming off him, and it just came off me too, because we both realized, more importantly, he realized, hired the right guy, this is going to work, and I realized he hired the right guy, this is going to work. So yeah, anyway, you didn't act in it, but you did ask one question, I think.
Well,
A little bit, yeah.
yeah. So I guess my next question here is, Mr. Shiny was so creepy, like just terrifying. Was there a moment on set for any of you where he actually scared you and it like felt real?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse Clarkson is the guy that plays Mr. Shiny. He also designed the mask that Mr. Shiny wears.
Oh wow.
He tried to kill us.
Basically to answer your question, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a couple times when he got murderous and he chased us around. He used a couple different weapons. I think he got you, right? He nicked you with something.
Yeah, he did. But Joe Kirby had a
But
little
he-
bit of Muay Thai training.
Yeah.
So I was able to.
You were
But
lifting
no,
him up.
Jesse was awesome. He's tall as hell, and like he just has a physicality to him and a presence that I thought was cool for a serial killer, in that, or for like a character like this. In that he's a little bit like, he's this towering, lanky kind of guy, but it's like he's not some big beefy Jason
Yeah.
Voorhees guy.
Which is terrifying.
He's kind of just this like
Average
dude.
yeah.
He just
But
kind of
he's
looks
really
like this
nice.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a lovely guy.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
no, but
He's unbelievable. So, I mean,
he reminds me a little bit of is it Tim Noonan who played
Yes,
the Tooth Fairy in Michael Mann's
Yeah, yeah.
Manhunter, in that same kind of gangly. I find that scarier. than a
Yeah.
big, you know what I
very
mean?
scary as the character.
But as a guy, he's just this dorky, like artsy, and
That's sweet.
he's got great story. He looks, I think he looks a little like Michael Shannon, but apparently in the world he looks so much like Michael Shannon to the average person. He's gotten like free hotel shit because they thought he was Michael Shannon, and he
that's
just didn't correct them. It's a really good story.
Why would you?
Yeah, right?
I have to say, his
Yeah.
stillness
Suddenly I
is
am.
what creeped me out. His stillness as a character.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I don't need that.
You are pretty loud.
You like the fluff.
I mean, that's what. His stillness and the way he played it was so but he was a good guy,
Yeah.
nice guy. Yeah.
The practical effects were amazing, by the way, and like some of the kills in there were gnarly. Obviously, like if it gets too spoilery, we can like stop it. But did you have a favorite kill, and which one took the longest to actually set up and film?
Which one took the longest to set up? Well, we have one kill that happens in a donut shop, and that one is actually one that we ended up doing over. We did it the first night when we shot the first part of it. There's a surveillance angle involved without giving anything away, and just wasn't happy with it. Wasn't wicked enough.
Yeah.
And then I remember going back and actually the actor that plays that guy was our PA, and he ended up getting upgraded to role of actor. But like Caesar, Caesar, amazing guy. Love you, Caesar. Shout out to Caesar. Caesar. He plays a character named Leo Dietz.
Nothing he wouldn't do.
Anyway, well, one thing he wasn't crazy about is when in his scene when we show his body is I want him to be basically like almost naked.
Yeah.
So I was able to tempt him to come out and do it by gifting him my Friday the 13th box set that had every single movie. I said, if you get in your underwear, I'll give you this, and he was like, "You mother."
That's amazing.
Fucker, okay, I'll do it. So when you see him in the film, the reason that I was able to get him his chonies is because I gave him the Friday the 13th box set.
Perfect. So last quick question here. Listen, I use movies as a way to like help bridge the gap and like get to understand people better, like help them understand who I am as a person better. So is there a movie that each of you recommend to somebody to help them understand you as a person better?
Wow, that's a great
Ooh, that's a toughie. That's a toughie.
music.
Well, I would go. I'm gonna go in a place that probably is not expected, but I would say Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson is my personal favorite movie.
Perfect. What about you guys?
I would say Boogie Nights by
Boogie
Paul
Nights.
Thomas Anderson
Yep.
for any women that are one. No.
Good choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll just say my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby
Perfect.
is probably my all-time
just-
number
That's great,
one.
yeah.
It's just like that. Just is everything to
Yeah.
me. If I'm going to watch a movie with you, that's the one. So
Perfect.
I'll go with that.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll go back to probably the way we were.
Yeah.
The way we were with.
You mean us?
Yeah, right.
The way we were. Yeah, Barbara Streisand. And I mean, there's so many movies from my childhood that just stick with me.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Congrats on
That's
everything,
awesome.
and I freaking love the movie.
Did you watch past the end credits?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. If we have more time, that was going to be my next question.
Sorry.
Thank you guys.